Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And another card for this year's Valentine card series. And I did go more traditional this time. I did some pink and red, but I mixed it with craft and a bit of brown. And I did some Copic coloring and hot foiling and splatter. I had fun. These images are really cute. This is part of another hop, this time over on Instagram, but I did a video because I enjoy doing the videos. So I will have a link to my Instagram. I always link to all my social media in the description box below the video, but I'll put my Instagram one like higher up. And yeah, definitely worth checking out because this is for the Pretty Pink Posh January release. I did a video not too long ago for a video or a blog hop, which I did a video for again, because that's what I like to do. But yeah, tons of really cute products. I did a walkthrough in the previous video. I'll link to that in the end screen if you guys missed it. It was the purple cupcake cards that I did. And yeah, this one I had a lot of fun. So all the info will be in the description box below. And then if you keep watching, I will show you guys how I made this card. Alrighty, so the first thing I did was I pulled out some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock, and this is the Pretty Pink Posh Valentine Cupcakes stamp set. It is super cute. So I already knew, like, right off the bat, the three that I wanted for the front of my card, and then I chose another one because I was like, oh, well, we need something on the inside, and there's space on just this little panel. So I put the cardstock in my MISTI. And then I made sure to just space the stamps far enough apart because I'm going to use the coordinating wafer dies to cut them out. And because this is a new stamp set, I'm just rubbing the stamps with my fingers. This just conditions them a little bit so that they take ink a bit better. And then I'm inking it up with an alcohol marker friendly ink. So this is just Simon Says Stamps Intense Black ink. It's just the same one I've been using for years. So ink up the stamps, stamp them with that ink, and then I'm going to use my Copic markers to color in these images. Now, I can't remember the last time I showed alcohol marker coloring on like darker cardstock, whether it's Desert Storm, which is usually my go-to for something like this. It's been a minute, but I've done videos in the past showing this. But for those that might not be familiar with this, the thing to remember with any alcohol markers, it doesn't matter what brand you're using. Once your base has changed from white cardstock, so if you're just changing it to any other color other than white, they're going to look different because they are transparent. So you're going to just get a different undertone, and lighter colors, especially like the really pale colors, you know, Copic markers have tons of very, very light colors, are going to show up very, very different, if at all. So it's just going to depend on what your sort of end goal is and what colors you're choosing. But I find when I'm working on specifically like Neenah cards or like craft cardstock like this, I tend to go with darker colors. I don't use the lighter shades much at all because they're just kind of pointless in my opinion. But it's always worth, you know, doing little swatches, even little scribbles like I did there for a second, just to see how the color is going to look. And it's like, this might work or it might not. So yeah, I might have to do a bunch more coloring on Neenah Desert. I had forgotten how much I liked this with specifically Copic markers. I've made it very clear. I love me Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. It's another perfect neutral in my opinion. I just love it. So I just went around coloring. The first little bit of the coloring was in real time. This is super, super sped up in editing. I don't color this quickly ever. This didn't take that long for me to color. These images are pretty simple, and I stuck to obviously very similar colors for kind of everything so that they all coordinate together. Browns, obviously, the little bear cupcake browns. I did brown on the strawberry cupcake because I was thinking like, ooh, it's topped with like chocolate ganache. That's what was going on. And then my puppy dog, and then reds and pinks. You know, I went traditional for this card. Although in the end, honestly, when we get to it, I would use this as just a basic sort of like thank you card. But anywho, reds and pinks and then brown and craft. Can't go wrong with this color combo. It's a good one for a reason. So I pulled out a variety of different shades of pinks and reds just to mix it up a bit so it's not all exactly the same. But you definitely could, you know, keep it to a more limited palette. But I was flying by the seat of my pants and just having fun with it. So I use the same browns as the bear for this. This is chocolate icing now that I'm working on. But I just went with the 2 lighter shades. So the E27 and E25. I left off the E29 just to mix it up a tiny bit, you know, just living on the edge here. And then my other favorite thing to do, and I've talked about this a lot, I really like adding little like dot texture detail with my markers. It just gives it a little extra something. Since I didn't go very not difficult, that's not the word I want to go with, but you know, I kept the blends very simple. You know, as in a lot of them I just did a 2 color blend, so there's not a lot of depth to these images. So this is a fun way to add a little bit of extra like kind of depth and texture and dimension, is just adding dots. And that's where, you know, Copics are one of my favorites for doing this, because the nibs on them just add the perfect little dots. And you just vary the pressure. The more pressure, the larger the dot. You know, so I just vary that so I get larger and smaller little dots, and I just add them wherever. And then I do the same thing with my white gel pen. This is my Jelly Roll 10 gel pen. Same one, again, that I've been using for years and years and years now. Love it. And I especially love working on Desert Storm cardstock and then using the gel pen, because the gel pen really pops on this, you know, having those white little highlights. Again, not following any sort of like light source or anything, because they're cupcakes and because I just can't be bothered. But yeah, random little highlights, more random little dots just to add that little bit here and there. Once I was done coloring, I used the coordinating wafer die set and I die cut all of these. So I taped my wafer dies into place, which is little bits of washi tape so that these dies do not shift when I run it through my die cut machine. So I'm going to tape these in place, die cut them all. And then the main like background, or the background for this card, is the Pretty Pink Posh heart cover plate die. This was actually my like original plan, and then as I was, you know, mentally planning everything out, I was like, ooh, the cupcakes would look really cute on top of this. So I did a video a month and a half ago during my Christmas series. I used the tree one that Pretty Pink Posh had released, and I did a whole bunch of cards because I just die cut full panels of like pattern paper and Neenah Desert Storm and white cardstock with that wafer die. You could do the exact same thing with this one, same sort of concept, and just knock out like a whole bunch of cards at once. But I was only making one. So rather than do full panels of the colors of cardstock, I just grabbed a bunch of scraps of just different shades of pink and red cardstocks and then trim them down to about the size of the hearts. And then this way I can just get all those heart shapes in one pass, and I'm not left with lots of extra pieces that I'm not going to use, you know? But you could totally do like I did. And if I remember, I'll try and link to that video done with the trees at the end of this one, so you can check it out if you've missed it. But that is a way. The other thing I did was, after I die cut it, I die cut a piece of Neenah Desert Storm with the full panel. And I put washi tape on the back to inlay these hearts. If I was going to redo this, I would just adhere that panel to the card base and then inlay the hearts. It would just save me fiddling around. I had to die cut an extra solid heart from the Desert Storm cardstock to adhere these ones with all the openings, because I didn't want the washi tape to show through, obviously. Yeah, you could just skip the whole washi tape thing. It works, obviously. I do it a lot, but I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't, obviously. I should have just stuck this to the card base, but not like this was, you know, tons of extra work or anything, but just sharing that info. It also would look really cute too. These two with the little polka dots and little hearts to like inlay little other colors of cardstock. That would look really cute, but this was the simpler, faster way to do it. So, and again, because this was the background, if this was the focus, I probably would have done the little inlay because it would look really cute. But that was the background, and then I added a ton of splatter just white gouache, stuck the background into my splat box, put some white gouache onto my palette. White craft paint will work, you know, acrylic paint, that'll work too. The white gouache, added a bit of water to thin it out, used my fan brush, splattered it, let it dry. And then for my main sentiment on the front of the card, I'm using the Be Mine hot foil plate. If you don't want to do hot foil, you can skip it completely because the coordinating outline wafer die set that I'm going to use to die cut these when I'm done, it also has the words themselves. So if you don't want to do hot foiling, you can just get that set and just die cut the words. That'll look great too. But I do love me some hot foiling. It's just fun. I didn't do my normal thing that I do when I do hot foiling, which is to tape the glimmer hot foil to my cardstock, and then I tape the plates to that as well. I'm convinced that just works better. I did this way. If I'm being 100% honest, I actually ended up redoing it off camera. I wasn't happy with how this foiled. So I'm convinced it was the tape. I should have done what I know better. But I put the plates onto my glimmer hot foil machine, and I let the machine heat up, press the button until the timer was solid. I removed it from the dock, put the foil with the pretty side of the foil facing the plates, and then just some pink cardstock, again for my stash, and then ran this through my die cut machine with the 2 plates that come with the Glimmer hot foil machine, and then I ran it through my Spellbinders Platinum 6. That gave the pressure, and it looks fine for a second, but there was parts that were like skipped, so I just repeated the process. And this is, I think, espresso Glimmer hot foil. I will have links to all the things like I always do. Yeah, espresso bean glimmer foil, just something a little different on that light pink cardstock. And then I die cut it with the outline wafer dies. And then my card base is more Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. It's just a top folding A2 note card, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And yeah, see, I could have, like I said, I could have just adhered that background and inlaid all the hearts. It would have been fine, but did it afterwards. It was fine. So I adhered that to the background. And then I needed sentiments on the inside of the card, or I just wanted sentiments on the inside of the card. So I used the sentiments from the Sweet Chocolates stamp set because I really liked this sweet word. And I stamped that with just the same intense black ink onto that same like scrap of pink cardstock. And then I die cut it with the little coordinating wafer die. And then on my card base on the inside of the card, I'm going to have that extra cupcake, the word sweet, and then I'm going to stamp that UR from that same little stamp set. And this is what I mean about, I wouldn't use this as a Valentine card per se. I could use this as just a thank you card, you know, or you could send it to just to a friend, to anyone really, because it's like Be Mine is sort of Valentine on the front, but on the inside it just says you are sweet. You know, it's not full on like you're my partner, I love you, like those sorts of sentiments. So even though I went classic pink, red, you guys know, this is still sort of what I call it, like an open-ended or Valentine adjacent card. So yeah, there's always going to be ways. I'm going to find ways around it, you know? So adhered all those things to the inside of the card. And then to adhere my cupcakes on the outside, I kind of lined them up how I wanted them. Use that washi tape just to hold them all, so I can just adhere them all at once. Saves me a little extra time. And I decided to pop them up with some just thin foam squares just to give them that little bit of dimension. So I flipped them over onto my work surface, put some little thin foam squares on the back, and then peeled off the backing. And then I can just flip this over and adhere all 3 at once. Just line them up. And then carefully peel off that washi tape. Even though I had stuck it to my hand to kind of remove some of the stick, this is the one time it decides to be extra sticky. It just, you know, I was having a day. I was having a day when I made this card. Seriously, the things that went wrong, not necessarily with the card itself. It was like everything else around me. I'm not even kidding. Just so many things went wrong. Anyway, I adhered my little cupcakes. And then to adhere the hot foiled sentiment, I just used some of my little Waffle Flower thin foam strips. Pretty simple. Otherwise, the other thing I do and show in a lot of videos is just die cut scraps with the same like outline wafer die, and then I could like trim off some of the pieces. And that's why I didn't do it, because I would have had to trim off, like be selective and It just depends on my mood. And by this point, I was not in the mood. So I was like, I'm just going to use these little foam strips. It worked. It was quick and easy. Stuck those along the bottom and then just pop those into place. As always, it could be done here, but I'm still going to add a few little embellishments because there's these little Valentine hearts clay confetti that was part of the release. I was like, perfect. They're the Valentine colors that I went with. And what's wrong with more hearts, you know? So I kind of poured some of those out into my little triangle tray and then stuck them on my card where I wanted and then just adhered them into place with little dabs of the craft tacky glue. Picked them up with my embellishment wand, adhered them into place. Once those are adhered, this card is complete. So we've got Copic coloring and hot foiling and splatter and die cut inlay and all the things. And it was loads of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed making it. It was therapeutic amongst the chaos. But like I said in the intro, I will have links to all the things in the description box below, as well as a link to my Instagram. You guys can check it out if you're interested. Thank you all so very much for taking the time to watch my video, for thumbs upping and commenting. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.